Bitcoin hit $103,000 last night, and I want to give you a time-sensitive update. Now, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, share this video with a friend, smash the like button. So, Bitcoin hit $103,000 last night. We have gold hitting $4,300 last night, which is an all-time high. It's insane what's been going on with gold and silver. And I think that that's usually an indication that something is breaking the system. It shows that there's a lack of faith when it comes to people buying either dollars or bonds, or it's just pretty much looked at as a flight to safety, so to speak, when you lack confidence in your current currency. So that is a little bit of caution for concern. Not to mention we have regional banks having like really bad reportings. The stocks are down, so it just things don't look great. I'll give the bears that. Also like with this whole like cascade that kind of went on, record liquidations, I wouldn't be surprised to see that maybe a Bitcoin treasury company or any kind of like company that holds maybe altcoins or, funds or even like a centralized exchange, I wouldn't be surprised to see one of them go under. And I think that that could cause implications down the road, but I think that that remains to be seen. And I do think that the cryptocurrency cycle as a whole is just, a lot more mature. So I think even in that scenario, we could see some like liquidations, cascading back down again. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But, we have a lot of major institutions now that could be accumulating these, and they can probably just do over-the-counter deals and kind of absorb these smaller companies anyway. So I wouldn't put too much worry behind that in particular. Now, obviously from a technical analysis standpoint, like yes, Bitcoin does need to hold around 103 to like, I would say like down to like 98 maybe. If you get like, maybe 2 weekly closes below that, that would be a really bearish sign in my opinion, and you'd probably look to target like something like 80K. That's just pure technical analysis, and I don't really put a lot of credence behind that because the big boys, they kind of know how people look at this technical analysis, and in a world where it's just very emotional, it's very easy to trick people into thinking that the price is going to move a certain way. And so you need to kind of put different things together to have some sort of general confluence as to what you think the market is going to do. And everyone is super bearish right now, and everyone's super scared, rightfully so. I mean, Bitcoin dropped from 126,000 down to 103,000. All cryptos are just bleeding, and you see, stocks they're doing relatively well, and gold is just all-time highs. And so, there is a reason to be cautious. And so, if you're somebody that's like very over diversified, and you just you have a lot more like risky altcoins, meme coins, something that I would consider doing is maybe consolidating some of that into like maybe like layer ones or like even Bitcoin, because you're still going to have the exposure to the crypto market, but it's going to minimize your downside, because obviously, smaller altcoins, meme coins, they all tend to go down like 99% in any kind of bear market. So you need to be prepared for that scenario. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but you need to be prepared to make a choice on what's going to affect you less. Do I hold my same stuff and like ride the wave and see if it goes up and I make a lot more returns, or if I just hold on to this, watching my net worth in crypto drop 80 to 90%. So that's option number one. And number two is, if you're someone that really thinks that the 4-year cycle is going to continue going, then I would still look at the altcoins that you have, or like just like your overall portfolio. And I would really caution, like, think about taking some sort of profits on the way up. And the best way I can kind of give you a visual of like what you can try to do is, let's say that, generally speaking, I think everybody should have a Bitcoin heavy portfolio, and then maybe you have like, a good percentage in altcoins. And you should also try to keep a cash pile, maybe like 20% of your portfolio, 25. And so as the price of everything fluctuates, you want to keep balancing that portfolio. So obviously if the prices go up a lot, then you would rebalance and you'd sell some of those altcoins into either Bitcoin, or you would add them to the cash reserves. And so the idea is you're taking profits on the way up, and then you have money to buy on the way down. And that to me is going to be the best scenario, just in my personal opinion, how you can mitigate basically your risk and play both sides of the field, so you still have like some power. Because the worst thing is not having any money to buy on dips if you think that this market's going to continue to go up, or if you just never take profits, then watching your whole portfolio drop anyway, and you're losing like 80 or 90%. So I think it makes sense to kind of take that into consideration. And then obviously if things just go super bullish, well then maybe you take some profits, and then you can speculate into other things with excess money, of course. We also have obviously the trade wars going on with like these Trump and President of China, etc. And I do think that that's going to get ironed out, because it's kind of like no one wins if they just keep like measuring against each other and imposing all these like tariffs. And it's just no one wins, right? So I think that cooler heads are going to prevail on that front, and I do think that the 4-year cycle, I don't think it's going to look the same. I've been saying this for a while now. I think that there's a high possible likelihood that we'll see things like Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum trade a little bit higher, or anything that has like a spot ETF. And then assuming that these treasury companies can weather the storm, whatever cryptos those are accumulating are probably going to have more staying power, and they're not going to go down as much just naturally from the the infinite bid that they're going to be having. So I would also look into those if you're somebody that's trying to mitigate some risk, and I'll of course do your research into those specific cryptos. And yeah, that's my little update on the market. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.